I told my awesome wife, Amy, that I needed her 5th gen 4Runner today to do some maintenance. But I'm gonna surprise her with 3, hopefully 4 interior upgrades that she's wanted for a very long time. Upgrading the built-in inverter to run at 400 watts instead of 100 while driving, making it not useless. A no-drill dash mounting and charging kit for phones and other devices, a rear window MOLLE panel, and hopefully fixing some glitchy seat heater switches that have been driving her nuts. I'm not sure if I got the right parts, fingers crossed. Amy recently graduated with her master's degree in nursing, and it's our 19-year wedding anniversary in just a couple days. So let's do all this stuff, spoil her a little bit, so she thinks I'm cool. My name's Jason, and this is Jason Explains Things. Oh, gosh. Well, I haven't been completely honest about what I did today.
Did you fix the heated seat button?
We're gonna be working in the back of the 4Runner to start, starting with the outlet back here. So, first thing we're gonna install is Guild Outfitters Interior Outlet Upgrade Kit. This comes with several different components. Now from the factory, the inverter runs at 400 watts while you have the engine running and the vehicle is in park, but only 100 watts once you're in drive, which makes things like charging a power station or running other devices kind of pointless whenever the vehicle is moving, which is most of the time when the engine is running, right? What we have here is this simple wiring harness where we're just gonna have to unplug a couple things, attach a ground, and that's pretty much it to get to essentially trick the 4Runner into thinking that it's in park while it's moving just with the inverter, nothing else. Now this kit actually does come with a second AC outlet that plugs into this little offshoot right here. But for the 4Runner, I'm actually happy with this single AC outlet in the back. So we're gonna skip that part. Let's install this and get our inverter running at 400 watts.
For this and the other projects I'm doing in this video that involve wiring, you can disconnect the negative terminal on your battery for an extra layer of safety. However, since we aren't cutting any wiring, and all these things are dependent on keyed power, this isn't necessary in my opinion. Here's how to install the 400 watt inverter upgrade. Use a plastic pry tool to pop the outlet out. Prying carefully from the bottom left corner worked great for me. Disconnect the wiring harness going into the inverter. Plug in the new wiring harness and then the other side into the stock wiring as you see here. Use a 10mm socket to remove this bolt and use it to attach your ground wire off the new harness. I opted to cover the unused portion of the harness that goes to the second outlet with electrical tape. This likely isn't necessary, but it's not a bad idea. Pop your outlet back into place and this project is done.
All right, to demonstrate and prove our new output on the inverter with it in drive, we're gonna briefly turn the 4Runner on, put it in drive, and test to see how many watts are coming in on my power station. All right, engine running, but we are in park, so we should be getting 400 watts, and the switch here is showing 400 watts. Gonna switch to drive. And the switch is still showing 400 watts, and hopefully back there, it shows 400 watts. Awesome.
It turns out that this older power station will only charge at 200 watts max with any AC outlet, but we confirmed that it works, and it will now charge this device 2 times faster than before. Briefly, I want to thank Sean from Guild Outfitters for sending me this kit to get my thoughts. Beyond getting the part, this isn't sponsored, and I paid full price for every other product shown in this video.
Staying in the back hatch area, let's move on to installing this rear side window MOLLE panel from Victory 4x4. I've had a matching one of these here on the driver's side for over 3 years, and I'll have a video all about that down in the description for this original one, which covers this and also the rear hatch MOLLE panel you see up above. These are really cool for mounting soft goods like first aid kits, flares, fire extinguishers, stuff like that. And also if you have both on both sides, there's also, I believe, a shelf that you can buy to attach the two. We're not gonna do that. I kind of think that that kind of takes away from some of the functionality of being able to like get back here easily. Installing one of these is extremely easy. All we're gonna need is a 10mm socket, ratchet, and a Phillips head screwdriver, and I would say about 10 minutes.
Remove this plastic hook and the Phillips screw behind it. Then remove this bolt from behind this plastic panel. Remove the bolt from behind the clothing hook on the headliner. After 4 years of use, the headliner was a little dirty, so I cleaned it up with some interior cleaner.
Nice, that looks a lot better.
Install the rear bracket loosely with the longer screw and white plastic spacer. Install the right angle bracket with the longer screw and spacer. Wait to tighten the fasteners up until everything is in place. Install the last bracket that's secured in place by the plastic hook. It can only go in one way, so you can't mess this up. Install the MOLLE panel using the supplied hardware. Tighten up all the mounting brackets, and you're done.
Awesome, well, we're finally matching. I think it turned out great, very happy with it. But I'd love to hear your guys' opinion of MOLLE panels down in the comments. What do you think of them? It can be a bit much, but I personally find them to be quite useful, but especially actually this one here above my head, they're actually a great way to protect, kind of delicate automotive plastics from getting all banged up and scratched up, because these MOLLE panels can get scratched up. You can take them off, repaint them and put them on again, and then they look good as new. So that's actually why I personally like them, but I'd love to hear your opinion down below. And while you're at it, hit the like button, subscribe for more DIY installs, maintenance guides, and adventure videos. I'm also going to be revealing a brand new project vehicle here on the channel that I've been dropping hints for quite some time. Also, thank you to my new channel members here on the screen. You guys are awesome, and channel members get access to videos early and other perks as well. All right, moving on to the 5th Gen 4Runner dash mounting kit. Now, my wife has been asking for a different way to mount her phone for quite some time because she doesn't love the one that's in there. It works okay, but it also blocks some of the vents. Now, this is a plastic panel with 4 1/4-20 mounting points in it, and a center cutout section for USB charging. What it does is it removes a plastic panel that is right above your stereo head unit. You take that out, you put this in, and then you can mount, several pieces of equipment to it. Several people online have said that this is not going to be heavy duty enough for off-road use, and that it's going to cause vibrations and squeaking and all sorts of stuff. So you're going to want to stay to the end of this video because my wife and I are going to go off-roading again to kind of celebrate our anniversary, and we're going to be testing this for sure, and that way you guys will know, and you'll know whether or not this is a viable solution for off-road use, or maybe if you just want to stick to something like this for strictly on-road use. If you want to see what tools and everything else that I'm using, check the description. I'm going to have everything listed out there for you, along with some affiliate links to Amazon. If you use those, then that helps support me making these videos at no extra cost to you. All right, let's go.
To install the dash mount, you're going to need to get behind your factory head unit. This is easier than you might expect. Remove these 2 side trim panels simply by squeezing them with your hands and pulling carefully to the side.
I've got a quick break from the dash mount to do a little bit of a side mission for you. So there are 2 seat heaters right here. I actually installed these with a DIY seat heater kit that I did years ago. The little rolling switches that kind of determine whether it's on or off or how hot the seats get have been kind of finicky. They don't like to turn off sometimes. And I'm really hoping that that DIY kit that I did uses the same type of wiring harnesses that plug into the back of these. All right, all we have to do to get this panel off now that we've taken these off is we have to disconnect these 2 knobs.
These aftermarket knobs are from Tinkerer's Design, and I'll link to a video about them in the description below. Now this panel can simply pop up. Unfortunately, these aftermarket switches do not use the same wiring harness as Toyota. This is annoying, but I was able to find the Roston switches on eBay. Hopefully, these switches last longer than the older ones. Let's get back to the dash mount. Pop the climate control panel out of the center console, disconnect the wire harness, and set it aside. Remove the 4 10mm bolts that hold the head unit in place. Now the entire head unit can come forward and be rested on the center console. I use my dog Toby's shop bed to prevent any scratches on the screen. Now remove the 2 small Phillips screws that hold the original center panel in place, and then save them because we'll be using them again. And I'm holding on to the original plastic panel in case this mount doesn't work long term.
I got the new mounting panel ready to go. with the USB in the center. There's no real good way because all of this is plastic to tighten this down. So I added just some hot glue just to be able to, make sure this doesn't back out and get floppy and loose over time. We've got our wiring that's gonna go down to our 12-volt outlet that we're gonna use a posi tap to tap into the wiring without having to cut and splice anything. So we got, obviously, red is going to be positive, and then black is going to be negative, and it's all clearly labeled on the back of the USB. So let's put this in.
Slide in the mounting plate and secure it with the original screws. Run the wiring behind the head unit so we can tap into our 12-volt outlet. Push the head unit back into place, but I'll wait to bolt it down until I've tested everything. Disconnect the wiring harness that goes to your 12-volt outlet so it's easier to work with. The kit comes with 2 posi tap connectors that are very easy to use. I'll link to a video about these in the description if you need more info on using them. We're tapping red to red and black to the white wire with a black stripe. Once you're done, reattach the 12-volt wiring harness to the outlet. Before buttoning everything up, let's test to make sure the new USB charge ports work.
Yeah!
With everything working and looking great, reinstall the 4 10mm bolts that hold your head unit in place, reattach your climate controls, install the 2 side panels, and you're done.
Well, I haven't been completely honest about what I did today. I instead did several things you've been wanting me to do on that.
Oh, did you fix the heated seat button?
I tried.
Oh, you put up the second panel.
Yep. And I installed the Anytime 400 watt kit for that. So now that will charge while driving better.
Oh, good. I have a new phone thing. That's much better.
We're gonna have to test this weekend when we go off-roading for our anniversary to see if it vibrates a lot. I'm a little bit worried. I think it looks really good, but I also think it has the possibility of being a little weak. But you like it.
I do. I really do, because I have my vent back.
You have your vent back. Yep.
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 The vent is nice. Yeah.
All right. Well, love you. Stuff.
Yay.
All right, Amy, my wife, what is the final verdict on the phone mount situation?
I like the extra power hookup spots back here. I really do. And I like the fact that it mounts up in this spot, this area. I keep coming back to it being a little shaky, and then every time I try to grab my phone out of it to bring it out, it just about takes it off of the...
It makes the ball mount loose, and the reason for that is these 1/4-20 mounting points are kind of inset into the plastic, but they're not very deep, so you can't tighten it down very much because you risk breaking it, obviously, and then also because it's so shallow, it just gets loose really easy. But I don't think Loctite is a good idea in there for obvious reasons, right? So yeah, it shakes. It's awesome, but it shakes a lot on just regular roads, and then here, just doing some light off-roading, it's shaking a ton.
Keeping the power mount thing in there, that would be ideal.
Update time. We ended up keeping the panel for the USB ports, but removed the mounting balls and instead installed this mount from Off-Roam with a tack form phone holder. This has worked great on and off-road, so while I wouldn't recommend installing the Lab Ops Gear mounting panel, it wasn't a complete loss. And we're very happy with this final setup. Thanks everyone for watching. Thank you, Amy, for being awesome. Until next time, God bless all of you, and don't forget to do it yourself. Amy, I bet the people want to know, what is the story with the adorable little owl?
Oh, Marley made it for me.
Why don't I have an adorable owl? I bet she'd make one if I asked.
I bet she would.